Hi everybody, it's Marcy and I'm here to make one final kind of Christmas card. And again, I learned this from Angela Serendipity Arts at the class hosted by Maddie at Spectrum Art Creations. I've made some minor modifications to the way I'm doing the card, but let me show you what I made. I'm calling this a 3D stand-up Christmas card. And this one ended up being, I forget what it ended up being. Where'd my ruler go? 6 by 6, I believe. Yes, 6 by 6, which is fine, but I don't really like mailing square cards. The post office charges an extra fee for square cards, so I prefer making mine rectangular. So that's what I'll be doing today. But you open it up and see how it pops open, and it will come completely flat. And then you can stand it up like so and have sort of a 3D image. And this one is not done nearly as well as they can be done. And today I'm going to be showing you a very simple version. But this, I think, will ultimately be one of my favorite kinds of cards just because there's so much that could be done with this to make it actually pop out at you. So I want to take some time to play with that. All right, excuse me, I've got to grab a drink real quick. Got a little bit of a tickle in my throat, and I don't want to start coughing. So for what I'm going to do today, I'm going to end up making a 7-inch tall by 5.5-inch wide card. So you're going to need one sheet of plain cardstock that is cut to 7 inches by 11 inches. You're also going to need a plain piece of cardstock that is cut to 2.5 inches by 11 inches. Now you could, if you wanted to get it all out of one 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, if you have 2.5, you could make it well, that would make it 5.5 by 5.5. So you're back to square again. But, again, these can be any size you want them to be. The idea will be the same. Okay, so I've got my 2 pieces of plain cardstock. I'm going to take my larger piece and I'm going to score it first at 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to score it at 2 3/4 of an inch. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my other piece, my little 2.5-inch strip, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to score at 2 3/4 of an inch and 5.5 inches. And that's all the scoring I will need to do. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to flip this over. I'm going to fold my larger piece. I'll be calling this the card base. Okay, so I've got that. Now I'm going to take this 2 3/4 inch section, and I'm going to fold it back to where my halfway fold is. So that's what we've got. Just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing with my 2 1/2 inch strip. I'm going to fold it in half on the 5 1/2 inch score line, and then I'm going to fold it back to that fold line and burnish that down. Okay. Now the way this will work, just like you can see here, eventually this 2 1/2 inch strip will be attached here. The 2 1/2 inch strip will be attached here with this smaller section. The longer 5 1/2 inch strip will be attached over here. So you will want to have this one eventually facing right side so that you've got the smaller section over on this side and the larger section over on this side. Okay? And the card base, I'm actually going to set that up so that it's facing upright. The card base, your 5 1/2 inch by 7 inch section will be on the left with your 2 3/4 inch sections over on the right. So the very front part of your card will be this 2 3/4 inch section. Okay? So now you need to choose whatever decorative papers you want, and I'm going to be using some kind of purplish lavender. Not really my style, but I have these. These are some hunky-dory papers that I got from Spectrum Art Creations, and so I'm going to use these today. So I'm going to be cutting these to fit. This will go on the 3 sections of my card base. So I'm going to first cut it down to 7 inch. No, I don't want it quite 7 inches tall. I'm going to cut mine to 6 7/8. That way I've got a little border around the entire thing. Although in this case, you could go completely from the bottom to the top, but you will want to leave a little bit of room here on the fold sides so that you don't get bound up in your scored fold lines. Okay, so let's see. I want I'm going to start over here. Oh, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I've got it 6 7/8. And for this section, I'm going to cut mine at 5 3/8. Okay, and I'll be putting that on like that. Then I want a piece for this section and this section, so I need 2 pieces at 6 7/8, which I've already got, and 2 5/8. So let's do 2 5/8. Okay, so there's one. This one I'm going to flip around and I'm going to cut a little bit off the purple side. So we're going to go 2 5/8 on this. Okay. So then I will be gluing down like that. Let me pull it all out. Sorry, my brain is having a difficult time functioning today for some reason. So that's how I will be laying mine out and gluing my decorative cardstock down. And for my little 2 1/2-inch strip, I'm going to go ahead and cut, if I can find it, this piece of cardstock, and I'm going to make it 2 3/8 inches tall, since my strip is 2 1/2. So 2 3/8. So just cut that off, and then I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to cut 2 at 2 5/8. So one for that section right there. And two 5/8 for that section. And then I need one more at 5 3/8. 5 3/8. So then I'll just have that little bitty piece left over. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pause my video and I'm going to move that bag and I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of my pieces. And the only reason really that I'm pausing the video is because I do want to ink around my edges before I put them down. But then when it all goes on there, that's what we will have so far. So let me do that and then I will be right back and maybe you can get caught up in the meantime. Okay, excuse me. So I got my background papers glued down, but as you can tell, my background papers have now changed. Yeah, I went through and I thought I turned my camera on to continue the video, made the rest of the card, and had not turned my camera on. So, I've redone some stuff, so I'm just gonna continue on as if I'm doing the same thing. Okay. So now that you've got your background papers down onto their bases, eventually this piece is going to be glued right here. And this piece is going to be glued here. Now this is a short side of the page, And this is the long piece. This is the long side of this base page, and this is a short piece. But that's the way it needs to go to work properly. So, before you glue it down, you're going to want to decorate your background however you want it done. And when I say your background, I mean the large base piece. So, and this one I haven't really had time to think out very well, so I'm just going to use some pieces and keep this pretty simple, but do the best I can. So I'm just going to overlay that. Put that little frame down. Whoops, stop moving it. And then inside here, I'm just going to put this swan. I'm not popping it up because of the piece that will be going over it. Now, if I'd thought this particular design through and everything, I could have figured out how to cut stuff to pop it up or to be able to do it better, but I must admit I got a little flustered when I realized what I'd done. Okay. So that will go there. That will go there. This one, I'm actually going to put over here. And I'm going to allow it to flow over. But I don't want to go past about here with my glue. So then when that folds, that will stick out there, okay? And that works just fine as long as I don't glue past the score line. I'm going to add a little more glue there just to help keep it secure, okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue down this 2.5 by 2 3/4 inch square. And it's going to go right up to the edge of the card. And just glue that completely down. And over here, I'm going to put some glue on the 2.5 by 5.5 inch side, but I'm not going to try to take it all the way over. I'm going to give it some good glue to hold, but I'm not going to try to take it all the way over to the 2 3/4. And that will go right in that left-hand bottom corner. So then my card folds. And that's what I've got so far. So now that I've got that down, I will go ahead. This just says sent with all my love. And just for a little bit of fun, let's go ahead and pop it up a little bit. We'll put that about right there. And then sorry, you probably can't see it, but I'm trying to see what it will look like. Yeah, okay. Why not? So I've got this little swan, and him I'm not going to pop up. Although I could. And we'll just put him down right there. And then I will, this little sentiment says, may the Christmas season bring you many special moments. And that one I will pop up. Just because I can. And we'll put it right about here. Okay, now that's all I'm going to do with this card, but you can see, and like with the rest of my videos, in the last one I stopped and gave instructions throughout the video, the written instructions. This one I'll have it at the end, but you can see the design of the card is really easy, of the base card. So that's from face up. If it's opened up, that's about what you get. When it's closed, that's what you've got. When it's fully open, that's what you've got. And the fun part, I think, about these is going to be, I mean, here I kept it very simple, but you could get really elaborate with these cards, and I'm really excited to play with that and try to do more sort of levels in the card and just see what can be done just for the fun of it. So that's that one. The one I did before that I ended up thinking the video was running, but it wasn't, ended up like this. I popped up this from our home to yours. That is just glued down, but it's tucked just a little bit under that bottom band. And then I've got the Merry Christmas here with a little house here. That's how it looks when it's completely open. And that's what it looks like when it's closed or standing open. So that probably gives you a better view of what you would be seeing if you were looking at it face on. So that's it for today, guys. I'm sorry that got so messed up. But I hope it's really a pretty simple idea. It's just a matter of what you do with it once you've got the two pieces cut. It can really go anywhere you want it to go. Until next time, I wish you all a wonderfully happy crafty day, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.